What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some r/relationships. I read some relationships recently and I really enjoyed it, so I'm going to do another one today. I hope you don't mind. Thank you for being here, by the way. If you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's get straight in to today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, this first story does come with a big update as well from Unique Emergency 3407. Nightmare situation. Me, 35 female, with partner 40 male, my son and his nephew 15 males. 4 years ago, I met Bob, 40 male. Bob had recently become the guardian of his nephew Ben after the death of Ben's parents in a car accident. Ben is the same age as my son Jason, 11 at the time, now 15. At first it seemed perfect. I was over the moon at finding a man who was not put off by the prospect of taking a soon-to-be teenage stepson. Jason's father is not in the picture. And in spite of being very different personalities, the boys got along from the beginning. So Bob and Ben moved into my house within less than a year. Ben was always quieter, more creative kid, where Jason is more athletic and boisterous. And from the start I got a sense that Bob understood Jason's ways of being more than he did Ben's. At first he would take them both to sports games, but Ben obviously had no interest, and so pretty soon he just took Jason. At the time it seemed like a natural choice. Ben was bored at the games and Jason honestly reveled in having all of Bob's attention. But after that, things started unraveling. As they grew older, the difference in the boys became more obvious. Their choice of clothing, hairstyle, friends, music, hobbies, etc. And so did Bob's preference. He started making little comments comparing them and encouraging Ben to be more like Jason. At first it seemed like he was trying to be helpful, thinking that Jason's way of being was healthier. He's more outgoing, has a more active social life, etc. because that's what he remembered from his own experience. But after a while there was clear snideness, which it was impossible not to hear. My son had always had a strong protective streak, sense of fairness, and in spite of their differences and the late age they were introduced, he and Ben are very close. So Jason's reaction to Bob's remarks favouring him was to take Ben's side. He stopped going to games with Bob and generally liking him, and for a while he became openly hostile on Ben's behalf. That stopped once he and Bob had a major argument. Jason backed down at that point because he told me he realised that if he kept making himself unpleasant, Bob and I might break up, in which case Ben would have to leave too. Since then, with a few exceptions, he has been coldly civil. Meanwhile, Bob has come to believe Ben is gay based on what I consider spurious evidence. Not that it matters to me whether he is or not. He wanted to send him to a military-type reform school, and when I vetoed that, his behaviour towards Ben has escalated to subtle, kind of downright nastiness. Needless to say, all the above strained Bob and my relationship to breaking point, and then broke it. Seeing his ongoing behaviour towards a child who needs him, I can no longer look at him with anything but disgust. The thought of him touching me makes my skin crawl, and I desperately want him out of my house. We're not married and it's still in my sole name, thank God, but now I have the same problem Jason was worried about. If I end the relationship and kick Bob out, Ben will have to go too, since legally I've no tie to him whatever. He's 15 now, and although he has borne everything by stoically ignoring Bob, I can't in good conscience let that man be solely responsible for him. For what it's worth, I've always tried to stick up for him and get Bob to see that there are many types of boy in the world and all of them are equally okay. Not to mention, I don't think Jason would ever forgive me if I did. I would happily take guardianship of Ben if I could. Even if Bob made no financial contribution at all, we could manage if we cut back on luxuries. My concern is that I'm far from sure Bob would agree. However he personally feels about Ben. Ben is still his flesh and blood, and Bob feels strongly about that. To be honest, I think it's part of the reason he resents Ben so much. Ben is the last of the line, and not turning out how Bob thinks his family should be represented. If I were to start a conversation along those lines, and Bob refused to allow Ben to stay, it would be incredibly difficult to roll back. The idea of having to continue to play a supportive wife to stop him leaving of his own accord for another 2.5 years till Ben turns 18 sounds like a nightmare. But the alternative is worse. What is the best way to manage and get through this? Now this is an incredibly tough one where I don't even know where to go with that. What can you do in that situation apart from talking to a lawyer? And it's so different in the UK compared to the US, I wouldn't even know where to go. So we're going to check out some of the comments first, then we're going to move on to the update to see what that says. Be ready for it. Hotspur Jr. says, so you've gotten some good advice here. Just to reiterate, talk to Ben. Tell him that he always has a home with you, and that you're not going to do anything which will make his home situation unstable. Tell him you love him and appreciate him for who he is, and that you know things are fraught. I know you don't particularly think Ben is gay, but I think you should talk to him in a way that makes it clear that you don't care, without saying as much. Talk to a lawyer. Find out how, if you kick Bob out, Ben can stay. How old does he have to be to make that choice? You want to avoid a legal fight, but it's good to know what the law is. Talk to your son. Tell him you appreciate him for standing up for Ben to Bob. Tell him that you agree that Bob is behaving unacceptably. Tell him that you're trying to figure out a way to keep Ben safe from Bob, and that you will never take Bob's side over him and Ben. Tell him you recognize that the current situation with Bob is unhealthy for everyone, and that you're actively trying to figure out a way to resolve it while protecting Ben. Don't tell Bob any of this. Have all these conversations quietly until you're ready to take action, because you've had the discussion with a lawyer. Furthermore, once you're ready to take action, talk to Ben and Jason before you tell Bob. Gone Baby Thought says, have you talked to Ben about how he feels about Bob? What sort of rapport do you two have? If you haven't, I think you should sit down with him and tell him that. No matter where he came from or what his preferences are, you love him and you want to support him. Let him know that you're upset with how Bob treats him and that you want to make sure he is okay. Tell him you want to be a positive part of his life and that you need his help in understanding what this looks like. It takes more than one conversation to build this rapport. Keep trying. Then when you feel confident you know what he needs, reach out to an attorney and ask what your options might be. Emancipation of Ben from Bob. And Fuge023 says, try to find out how Ben can become emancipated. He will likely be granted this if he can present evidence that living with Bob is detrimental and that he is mature and of sound mind. The fact that he'll be living with you and his brother would also likely be a huge benefit. Edit, I just found out he has to be 16. By the time Bob is out the picture completely, it will probably be at least 6 months. And one more before we move to the update with Fear is Like Fire, who says, I wish I had a good answer for you because I can't imagine how awful you must be feeling. I think you must be best off consulting a lawyer. After 4 years, I doubt you can try and fight for guardianship, but maybe with your help, Ben could get emancipated. Because I don't think staying together with Bob for Ben's sake is feasible. It sounds like it would destroy you. Maybe letting Ben know he could always call you for help and is welcome to move in when he's 18 would help him get through the next couple of years. If Bob got actually abusive, left to his own devices, then Ben could escape sooner. Poor kid. He's lucky to have you and Jason in his life at least. Now let's move on over to the update to see what that says. Hi again everyone. I posted about my family problem about a month ago and was bowled over by the amount of kind and extremely helpful comments I got. Someone requested an update, so I'm posting now to tell you what's happened since. To be honest, it's also to unburden myself. The boys are really sweet, but I obviously can't talk to them about these things, and there aren't a lot of people in my life I feel comfortable sharing all the details with. I suppose I'm embarrassed. The week after my original post, I met with a family lawyer I know to go over options. I actually wrote down the legal suggestions posted here to discuss with her, but unfortunately, after going over each and several others in detail, we had to conclude that for each one, while it might technically be feasible, it would either take too long to be practical or require things from Bob or from Ben, which for various reasons were not ideal. Following the meeting, I was mulling things over and decided to take a long hard look at our finances to see what might be affordable as a compromise, such as perhaps sending Ben to a good boarding school and pay tuition up front, so that if I then left Bob, it would be easier and cheaper for him to leave Ben there rather than move him to a different school. Anyway, I went over our financial records with a fine-tooth comb, and that's when I discovered Bob was cheating on me, and had been for the entirety of our relationship. It turns out that prior to Ben's parents' death, Bob had been about to move in with another woman. This woman didn't want kids, so when Bob was suddenly faced with taking custody of Ben or seeing him placed in foster care, she made it clear she would not be involved. For the record, I can't say I blame her. I love my boys with all my heart, but asking someone who never wanted kids to parent a bereaved 11-year-old she has never met is not in anyone's best interest in my opinion. When I confronted him about the affair, he didn't even attempt to deny it. He seemed ashamed, good, and just asked what happened next. So I told him that he was going to get his stuff and get out of my house, but first asked Ben if he wants to go or stay, because it wouldn't be fair to disrupt the poor kid's life any further. Ben quickly said he preferred to stay, and Bob seemed frankly relieved. He moved out that weekend and I haven't seen him since. We've been in touch by text to discuss financial arrangements though, and last week he sent me money to cover Ben's basic expenses. Nothing like as much as child support, but under the circumstances, I'll take it and be glad. From his attitude, I take it he's been seeing this as a long-term thing, but even if he doesn't, according to the family lawyer, his leaving Ben with me even for a while, along with Ben's age and the fact that Bob is his guardian rather than his father, would make it easier to build a case for Ben to stay, even if Bob does try to fight it. The lawyer is confident that such a battle could be won, or at least dragged out till Ben is 18 and it doesn't matter anymore. So that, as you can imagine, has been an enormous relief. Ooh, tearing up here. That makes it that much harder to admit that finding out about Bob has still hit me hard. The fact is that, even though I was absolutely done with him and wanted him out, there was a time I truly believed that he wanted to be with me and that we could build a life together. I knew our relationship wasn't a romance for the ages or anything like that, but it was by far the best I'd had since before my son was born, and I really thought we cared for and valued one another. Now I realise that all he ever wanted for me was a mother for Ben. He as good as admitted it, and in retrospect it makes complete sense. That's why he never wanted to get married or buy into my house, even though I offered, though now of course I am grateful, because he wanted to make it as easy as possible to split from me once Ben was old enough to no longer require my services. I think it might even explain why I was so hard on Ben and grasping at straws for a reason to send him away. I never expected it of him based on whatever else I knew, or I never would have been with him. But if he was blaming Ben for getting in the way of his life and simultaneously feeling guilty for, that could turn a mild-mannered person mean, I think. Maybe he thought if Ben was away most of the time, the other woman would be willing to compromise for a few years. I don't know. I've been wondering whether he decided to pursue me before we'd even met. The boys met first through extracurricular, where they became friends. It's possible that Jason mentioned me being single in passing, allowing Bob to identify me as potentially suitable before we even met. I'm sorry this is such a mopey post. I truly am great for the way things worked out. I think it's the best possible solution for everyone under the circumstances, and not one I could have achieved without Bob's help. And the boys have been wonderful. They didn't even know I was trying to get Bob out anyway, so they've been treating me very gently, or as gently as you could expect teenage boys to be, anyway, and try to pretend they aren't thrilled Bob is gone when I'm in the room. I'm glad of that, to be honest. I'm grateful he's gone, and Ben is still safe here with us. I just need a bit of time to really remember it, I think. Now, OP said towards the end there that this was a mopey post, and I don't think it's mopey at all. I think in some ways, OP dodged a huge bullet, as we always say, and it is incredibly sad for OP to have to go through that, but she's gained another beautiful son. The relationship between her two sons has stayed intact, and she is just an absolutely amazing woman from what I can see here, and they're so incredibly lucky to have this person in their life. And I don't mean to play down any of the feelings OP must be experiencing. It must be an absolute whirlwind going on for her right now. And hopefully in the future she will see that she did dodge this bullet and she will find someone who she deserves, because the love that this person puts out there is absolutely amazing and I'm all for it, I got to say. But what do you guys think of this one with the update as well? Absolutely crazy update. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and we'll move on to the next one. And our next story is from Rants Today, and it's called "How Do I, 28 female, tell my husband, 30 male, that I'm not a fan of his greasy ponytail without sounding like a jerk?" When we were dating and for most of our marriage, 4 years, he has had short hair. It wasn't until COVID that he started growing it out. Now, I actually like his long hair. I love it when he wears it down and it's clean. The problem is, he never wears it down, and despite me trying to show him different things like conditioners and product and how to brush it, he's never had long hair, so he's not used to the effort it takes to maintain. He doesn't seem interested in learning either. He washes it with soap and sometimes goes without days without washing it at all. So he transforms from Jason Momoa into Ed from 90 Day Fiancé really quickly. It's always tied back into a greasy, stringy ponytail, and he wears it in a high pony, which I hate because it makes him look like a cheerleader. He also uses my bright pink scrunchies and bows when we are around the house because it's convenient, and also because he thinks it's funny. But I don't find it attractive at all. I also don't want to use my brush and my hair ties anymore after he does because his hair is so nasty. Imagine if JoJo Siwa didn't wash her hair for 5 days. That's what I'm married to. How do I go about this? I don't really want to hurt his feelings, but the little hints I've been dropping, like trying to show him how to take care of his hair, have not been working. I'm starting to resent his total lack of effort into his appearance. It's one thing not to comb your hair one day, or just stay in your pajamas, but his hair is just straight up gross and I cannot take it anymore. Now I think sometimes, if he's not listening to you, giving him advice and all this kind of stuff, you just need to be blunt in the nicest possible way, saying, I love your hair most of the time. Tell him he looks like Jason Momoa. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And I'm sure he'll be thrilled with that and be washing his hair all the time. If someone told me I'd look like him, I'd be washing that hair all day, every day. Check me out, you know what I mean? But if he's not listening, sometimes you just need to be blunt and just say, look, your hair's nasty. But I love it when it's clean. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to be blunt if he's not going to listen to it. I mean, you see relationships all the time where they're telling each other their feet stink or stuff like that. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. You need to wash it. You need to keep it clean because that's just nasty, in my opinion. But let's check out some comments to see what they say. And Easy Lucky Free says, when my boyfriend was growing out his hair to the point he looked like Jim Henson by the end of quarantine, we had a similar problem. I just straight up said you need to use shampoo and conditioner, not soap. Soap will leave your hair full of residue. Shampoo and conditioner will make it feel like mine. Swish the hair. And if his hair looks greasy, I would directly say, babe, I think you should probably wash your hair. I feel like if you have a level of intimacy that you're married, you can be honest with him and be like, hey, your hair is dirty, let's fix it. Once you've got him to properly clean it, then you can probably work on styling. Maybe ask him to wear it down for sexy times so he will associate that his hairstyle is something you really like, and maybe be more motivated to try it out. You've got to be prepared for the possibility that he just prefers the high ponytail though. That could be his version of woman's messy bun, and I'd roll my eyes so hard if my boyfriend told me he wanted me to stop wearing my messy buns when I'm just hanging out in sweats because it's not attractive to him. This is a separate from hygiene thing, of course. If that's the case, buy him his own brush and scrunchies and present the scrunchies like a joke. Hey, since you like mine so much, here are some that will go better with your hair color, and try to find some good-hearted humor in his look. Great advice, I think. Groidu says, I guess you could randomly dump some shampoo on his head, which will force him then to go and rinse it out. Or you could, just be direct. Babe, I love you, but your hair is nasty and it's not attractive when you don't wash it for a week. And I'm going to have to burn all my hair ties. And one more from Magister who says, give me $20 and I'll tell him. I call him a greasy meatball or something and give him the tough facts about proper hair maintenance. Tough love. It'll work, don't worry. Now, what are your thoughts on today's stories? Let me know in the comments below what you think of relationship stories as well. Do you enjoy them? Of course, I love getting into them once in a while. It gives a different dynamic from the usual Am I the Arsehole post. So let me know your thoughts on that. Thank you so much for taking your 20 minutes or so of your precious time out of your day to be here today. It means the absolute world to me. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.